What's up, y'all? How we doing? So today, right, I want to talk about dark entities, and I found something on here, and I want to talk about this because this is becoming a real thing, and it's been going on, but it just seems like that these dark entities are really overtaking people, and the ones that are enforcing dark entities and the ones that are being penetrated with dark entities. And I want to talk about this because if you're not wrapped up in the blood, in the right blood, it's very, very easy for you to be penetrated with another's dark entity. And so, it seems like the best way that I can describe it is that it used to be a time where the dark entities were in the dark, but now it looks like darker entities are actually on the plane and they ruling more. And I just feel like, people talk about dark entities, but I don't know if I want to say that they don't really teach you how to deal with dark entities or how to combat them and stuff like that, especially for someone that's not really tapped in or they really don't know much about dark entities. Because this is the thing, a lot of times if you're not tapped in or if you're not awakened, people can throw things on you and you have no idea because you're not tuned in on that frequency that they are tuned in on. So this is just a layer of protection for those that aren't tuned in or those that are tuned in but think that the best thing to do is to fight dark energy with dark energy. That's not the thing to do. And I want to talk about this. So I found something, and it's called how to recognize and deal with dark entities or any entities that are not of the light. And what am I on here? Anne Reith, PhD, founder and director, Institute of Mediumship, Psychic, Astrological, and Reiki training. So let's get into this. What is my role in dealing with dark entities? Let me make sure I got my volume up. I want to make it clear from the outset that I do not work with dark entities. I have never communicated with dark entities, and I never plan to do so. I am definitely not a specialist in this topic. When it comes to dark entities and dark energy in general, my role is twofold. One, to acknowledge that dark entities and dark energy do exist, and they really do. And like I said, they out here on the playing field more than anything. Now you can't even hardly find no light. You can't even look into nobody's eyes and get their soul out anymore. Everybody's eyes are just dark, and they soul dark, and they heart dark. But I just want to help somebody so they don't be overtaken and learn how to deal in the physical, in the spiritual realm. Two, more importantly, to provide education regarding how to protect yourself from dark energy, so you can feel completely safe when doing spiritual work. Because this is the thing, y'all. A lot of times when you're doing spiritual work and people know that you are light workers, when people from the dark notice that you're doing God's will, or they notice that you're a type of angel, or they notice that you're a spiritual worker, a lot of people don't like that. And what they role is to get in here and stop that because of who their father is. Because one of my primary life purposes is to help people feel safe, I have written many blog posts and ebooks focusing on the topic of psychic protection. Here are some links and additional resources. Click here. Blog post on psychic protection. And then it's an ebook, Psychic Protection 101. Let's get into the heart of it. What are dark entities? Different authors and different religious groups use different terms to describe dark entities. Some of these include dark forces, dark force entities, dark beings, demons, the devil, and Satan, just to name a few. Additionally, there are many different theories about what dark entities are, what they are here to do, and where they came from. Trying to summarize them here is beyond the scope of this blog post, but from what I have read, all sources agree that dark entities are no longer connected with God, Source, Spirit, and their intent is to do harm. What my spiritual sources have told me is that one way to think of them is as fallen angels. They may have been in light at one point, however, they have chosen to move to a different dimension. Do dark entities really exist? I want to recognize that some people within the metaphysical field do not believe that dark entities exist. Boy, are they mistaken. If you fall into this category, I always tell my students, take what you like and leave the rest. However, I also encourage my students to always keep an open mind and to avoid passing judgment on any topic until they have educated themselves first. Actually, like some of you, I was initially a total non-believer. This was because I was raised in a very liberal Protestant church environment. Very little was taught about concepts such as the devil, hell, purgatory, etc. However, once I entered the metaphysical world, my guides knew that part of my life purpose was to help people feel safe when doing spiritual work. Consequently, they had to create a series of events that would prove to me that dark energy and dark entities do in fact exist. Let's just say they were very successful in their efforts. I'm now a believer. Should we communicate with dark entities or with any entity that is not of the light? According to the categories of contact table providing in the blog post, with spiritual entities should and shouldn't we communicate with? Dark entities are classified as non of light. Light workers usually don't communicate with dark entities because dark and light don't go together. However, there are entities included in these categories of content tables that are classified as proceed with caution. This includes some entities that come from other worlds or dimensions, souls that have not yet gone to the light. When we initially connect with an entity, we don't know what category they fall into. Therefore, we need to develop the skills necessary to determine if we are connecting with an entity that is in the light or an entity that is not. Why is this important? Because those that are not in the light are not connected to God, Source, Spirit. Depending on the type of entity, here are just a few of the harmful messages that can be conveyed. Inaccurate or misleading guidance of information. Encouragement to engage in harmful behavior, doing something to harm ourselves or other, either physically, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually. Information or experiences that are designed to create fear and result in stopping spiritual development in ourselves or others. Promises that they will provide us with something we long for, money, health, relationship, but only if we help them share their message with the world. Messages from entities that are in the light, angels and guides, will always be helpful, loving, and healing. Messages from entities that are not in the light can be harmful. Therefore, light workers should avoid sharing information that is coming from dark entities or any entity that is not in the light. How to recognize dark entities? Now, with me, I told y'all before how I recognize dark entities, because people are touch tone lamps to me, and they change in different shades, whether I see them in the dark going down even farther darker, like their skin, their shade changes, and the light around them, the aura, it gets darker, or if they're in the light, then they get brighter, and then their aura gets brighter. Like, I can always tell when somebody is operating out of the energy that they shouldn't be, and I'm always running for the hills. Why would dark entities recognizing dark entities begin by understanding their goal. They want to stop your spiritual development. They do this by creating fear in you or having you share information that will frighten those around you. Why would dark entities want you to feel afraid? Because when you are fearful, your spiritual energy and vibrational rate decreases. You also feel reluctant to move forward on your spiritual path. Consequently, it's very likely that you won't choose to take actions that support your spiritual growth. Attend class, read spiritual uplifting material, pray, connect with your guides. Unfortunately, sometimes it can be challenging to recognize when you are connecting with a dark entity. Not for me. They can be very tricky. Here are some examples. They will determine what you need and then make promises that they will help spread you if you help them spread the word. If you are clairvoyant, they may make a form that initially feels comforting to you by an angel or a deceased loved one. They may say all the right things, such as telling you that they are of light. Thank you. That they are light, that they are powerful spiritual beings, that you are loved greatly, and they are here to help you grow spiritually, etc. However, dark entities will always trip up. Remember, their goal is to make you afraid. If they continue saying and doing all the right things, then you won't feel fearful. That's why understanding their goal is so important. They cannot sustain the charade of being of light and achieve their goal of having you feel frightened. If you pay attention, they will eventually show their hand. Another way to think of this is that fear is like food to dark entities. Fear is a very low vibration, although we feel disempowered when we are feeling afraid. Dark entities gain strength when our vibration matches their lower vibration. Therefore, you can think of fear as their food. It sustains them. Therefore, if you start to feel afraid or uncomfortable when connecting with any entity, then there is a chance that this could be a dark entity. Also, if you enter a room or walk into a geographic area and you get the heebie-jeebies, then there may be one more dark entity in that area. It's time to take action. How to deal with dark entities or entities that is not of the light. I have 2 secrets that dark entities don't want you to know. 1, we are more powerful than they are. It's true. It's actually relatively easy to deal with dark energies. Again, it's true. Here are the basics that I teach all my students. First, whenever you are connecting with a spiritual entity or doing spiritual work of any kind, pay careful attention to how you are feeling. If you are feeling uncomfortable in any way, take action. This could include feeling fearful, uneasy, weary, unsettling, disoriented, angry, or confused. If you are concerned about misjudging an entity, see the last section of following the blog post to learn why there's nothing to worry about. Now, to paraphrase a verse from the Bible, darkness cannot exist where light is. Guess what? This is true. They really don't want you to know that the light is much more powerful than the dark. Dark entities hate the light. The light is vibrating too high for them. It's like fingernails on a chalkboard to them. When they are in the presence of light, they want to pull away. They want to leave. Therefore, you need to do things that will increase your light, your vibration. They want you to feel afraid, but your job is to move out of fear. There are many ways to do this. You could read spiritually uplifting material, pray, dance, laugh, send them love, and basically do anything that makes you feel positive, uplifting emotions. However, I know that when I'm feeling afraid, it's hard for me to shift from fear to feeling happy, joy, love, etc. It's too big of a leap. If you can do it, great. However, for most of us, there's an easier solution. Get angry, although it doesn't feel good to be angry. Anger is much high vibrating emotion than fear. It isn't a big leap to go from fear to anger. And when I say get angry, I mean really get angry. Think about you have everything to be right to be angry. How dare they try to frighten you? How dare they try to violate your space and your boundaries? You should be angry. Feel the anger. But don't just feel anger, express anger either silently or out loud. Tell the entity to go away. You have my permission to use every swear word in the dictionary. Also, don't just express anger. Make sure you tell the entity to go away. Now, this is all happening on the spiritual realm. Be very firm when you do this. Due to the law of free will, even dark entities must go away. It is the law. But with dark entities, you usually have to be very firm with them. If you show any hesitancy, they will take that as permission to stay. Therefore, be very clear that you want them out now. And of course, feel free to call for help from any spiritual beings that are in the light. For example, you can call on your angels, your gods, Jesus, or God. Many faiths believe Arch, 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 Archangel Michael is particularly helpful when we are in need of protection. Don't hesitate to ask for spiritual backup. Will dark entities come back? Unfortunately, sending one dark entity isn't going to stop their attempts to connect with you. It is likely they will be you will be contacted again. For this reason, all light workers need to keep their guard up and make sure to elevate all entities to make sure they are of light. However, if you consistently take the approach described above, dark entities will eventually stop coming around. I know this is true because I seldom am contacted by dark entities anymore. Why would they leave me alone? Because they know that I'm not going to give them what they want, fear. The goal is to make me afraid. Instead, I get angry, real angry. I'm not giving them the food that they need in order to feel powerful. Eventually, the word gets out in the dark entity community that you aren't willing to play their game. Stop coming around because you aren't fun for them. They will go find someone else to feed their need for fear. So I just want to put that out there because it's way more dark workers than it is light workers. And even what I'm finding out, the ones that call themselves working in the light, like she said, they trip up and show their hand. Y'all stay prayed up.